The old 110 will burn it in. Look at that. This thing's hard to work on. That's all you need to know about that. Cab. Don't cut your face off. I got these shocks. Perfect. All right, what's going on, everybody? We're back with another installment of Richard Banjo. They don't like to hear us use the real name, so we're going to call him Richard Banjo. This is our 2024 Rat Rod Magazine build-off. This is taking place at the Psycho Silo Saloon in Langley, Illinois. September 21st, I think. If I'm wrong, edit that. But we're still scraping and clawing and building stuff from what we got laying around. Trying not to spend any money, because I must spend money at the end when I go to put it all together. So in our last rat rod video, you seen it rolling, but I don't know if I really explained any of that, because it was just kind of, it's just kind of there. It's not done. So now I'm back at it, cutting brackets. This is going to be some cutting, welding, just some down and dirty. Up front, I don't even know how much this made it, but up front I made front mounts. Now I still got to make 45-degree gussets, and so that's not done. And then I just have one hole drilled in there. So what I'm doing right now is building. Right now I'm building. So everything on this is going to be double shear, 1/4 inch thick, grade A hardware. And the reason is double shear is see how I got that right now. Now, if that was to take an impact and break that bolt, it's going to rip out. Double shear increases your chances of survival. Basically, we're going to cut this down, and we're going to make that outer piece. And then we'll build some brackets onto it, strengthen it up, basically encapsulating the front spring hanger right here. So the one thing I don't have is the right bolts, but I think I have enough bolts. The local hardware store where I get all my stuff don't sell 9/16 bolts. They sell every other size, 3/16, 7/16, everything, but they don't sell 9/16. So I'm going to have to either order them or find a place that sells them. But I got enough bolts to mock it up. The front's in. These front spring hangers, I use factory spring hangers. I cut them down. They're in. I'll finish welding those when I blow it apart. Today I'm going to weld some spring hangers in. So, been talking with some other people, and I had a bunch of people in here when we were having our show, trying to come up with the best solution to make this rear roll good. Everybody's worried about it being functionable as far as the 6-wheel drive part goes, but I'm worried about it rolling good. And the reason is with it not having power, then if you high center the front, you're stuck, and it's embarrassing, and we don't want to do that. So I had initially intended on using all Dodge coil springs. Well, I got the ones in the front there, and they're stiff. So they come out of a 2014 Dodge 3500 dually 4-wheel drive, and there's a lot of weight under the hood, dual batteries, the weight of the suspension, because it was a crew cab, so there's a lot of force on the front of that. There's a lot of force on the front of those springs in a big Dodge dually. So I'm kind of leaning towards one set will be good enough. I had cut all the brackets and designed everything to do matching front axle, rear axle on the back, 4 matching coil springs. I'm going to continue with that plan, and I'm going to build the cross members like that. I'm going to finish that up today. And what I'm probably going to end up doing is I have 2 bags left over from when I was building the 8-lug Thug. At first, I just bought bags for the front, and then I ended up buying a kit. So I have some stuff left over. I have some mounting cups and some mounting plates I can work with, and they're just small bags. And what I'm going to probably do is I'll just have a simple setup with a dump valve run into the cab. I'll have an air compressor. We won't have it. I'll have a gauge on it. I am not going to say that, but I'll have a gauge, and I'll just have a dump valve in the cab. That way that rear axle will go limp, It'll still be downforce of its weight, but it'll go limp, and we can do whatever we got to do. It's going to have a front drive shaft and a front axle that'll work, but you'd have to get out and physically lock the hubs in, and that's all you need to know about that. I don't really need to explain much more, because if you get my drift, you get my drift. The reason I'm going to set it up the same front and back is because I do want to power it. And what I'm thinking about later on is getting a offset drop box, like I don't know if I have to build it out of scrap metal or an old lawnmower deck or something, but I'm thinking about building me a box that'll feed a top drive shaft down at the rear. Because they're both Dana 70s, but they must be different generation Dana 70s, and they're not much similar other than being called Dana 70s. The front one came out like an 83 Chevy motorhome chassis. And the rear, I don't know. Doug Mail gave it to me. And I'm not complaining. He gave it to me, so we're going to run it. And I knew this. That's why I took it apart and took the carrier out, and it's just rusted to beat hell, so we can't use any of that. The pinion won't even turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand grease those outer bearings on the back. They're just bearings, right? And they're outside the spindle, and they're made to get gear oil to them, gear oil cycles to them over the course of their life. The splash effect, gear oil splashes in the tubes, runs down, gets them wet, and it works. You're going down the highway like that right now, probably. So I am going to physically take the inner and outer bearings and pack them with grease. And I'm going to put the hub back on. No brake drums on the rear. It's just going to be back there for now. I know everybody, that's the number one question I get, but this is a build-off car. There's no room in the budget to V-drive it. I will do this later on, so that's why I want to set it up, and I want to make sure I got everything ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld these rear spring pockets on, just like I did the front axle. But then I'm going to just take some tube steel inside of that, and I'm going to weld extensions for my bag, and my bag will just be in that area. If it don't work, we'll put springs back in it. If when I get the camper on it, if it's too bouncy, then I'll put springs back in it. I should maybe just put the springs in it now, which is what I might do, but I'm just telling you what I'm probably going to end up having to do. I'm going to have to make that rear axle go limp from pushing down. It needs to go limp, so it'll come up. A lot of you know what limp means. I don't have to explain much more. So really, it's just down and dirty work right now. I'm in the depths of it. I'm under it. I'm welding. I'm sweeping the floor 100 times a minute. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get the grinder out. I'm going to start cutting some brackets. Even though I don't have bolts, I'm going to keep going as much as I can, use what I got, figure out what's laying around here, and keep the process moving. If I get to a point where I can start cutting those 45s and making that stuff. It's just all work, hours. I got to get it done, and time is getting away from me, so here we go. All right, I already marked it, so I'm just going to whack it. Just kidding. I want to dress the corners up while I got it. It's easier to work on stuff when it's together. So I'm going to clean these corners. I'm going to whack the corners off of it a little bit. Just cleans it up a little bit, just so it isn't crazy. I'll go back and clean it up more with the wire wheel or the sanding disc. 1.25 inches. There you go. Buy your disc off Amazon. You can't afford to go to Tractor Supply or Roll King and buy a disc. Just get on Amazon and support that guy. This is the boring part everybody wants to watch. Blacksmithing. Alright, I'm gonna kill the thing. I'm gonna weld those up real quick. All right. I got these welded. The bottoms I weld all the way around because they're taking weight. The tops I just weld on 4 spots because really you know why. You know why. I don't need to tell you. I don't have to tell you why. You know why I welded the top 4 spots and the bottom all the way around. Had a little bugger right there, but look, man, the old 110 will burn it in. Look at that. I don't care what you say. Not everybody's perfect. Everybody likes to criticize everybody's welds, but don't let that stop you. Just keep welding. You're bonding 2 pieces of metal together. The easiest way to weld is 2 metals the same thickness. But if you're not welding 2 metals the same thickness and one's a little thicker, focus your heat on that thicker metal and come up, come up, come up, come up. If you focus on the thinner metal, your heat won't spread as good. Then this is, I didn't go to school, but your heat won't be, you're pushing your heat basically. It's warming the metal, you're pushing the heat, or you're pulling the heat, however you weld. So, you know what I mean. Just get out there and do it. Bond those 2 pieces of metal together. Once you start getting it, you can hear it. You can start hearing if you got gas and everything, and you'll get an idea. I'm gonna show you something cool we picked up at Beatersville because it's laying right here. This is a professional leather pouch. I paid $5 for it. I'm gonna take the strap off, mount it to the dash. Cell phone fits right in it. Check this out. I don't have my phone, but it fits right in it. So we picked that up along the way. That's gonna go in the interior. I picked these headlights up. I don't know if I've showed you this. I picked these headlights up off a buddy who I met at our own car show, Thomas. I'm not even going to try to say your last name without looking at it, but Thomas had these for sale, and they take a conventional headlight, I assume, but they're a little bit bigger. So he gave me a good deal on them, and I needed them because I didn't want to ruin my Model A spread back there. I have a Model A bar and headlights, but I didn't want to use them. I'm going to use these. I will rewire them with I'll call Speedway and get high-low pigtail, and then I'll rewire them, mount them out front. That's what these are. People don't realize the amount of work that goes into getting all the parts to build something like this. So these are the brackets I made, tombstones. So I'll go back here and show you what I'm going to do with these. They're a little different, but no one will know. They were hand built. Stuff that's hand built is always going to be a little different. So this will go. This is going to go right here. And then I'll build out off of it. I'm going to spin a little bit. It's going to be hard to film and do it all. I got some washers, and I'm going to use the washers because there's a difference from side to side. The leaf springs are a little wider than the hangers, and the fronts I just cut them down, but I didn't have enough room here to cut stock hangers down and still get a nut on it. So it's going to be a long grade 8 bolt with a spacer, and I'll buy spacer material when I go back to the yard. But for today, I'm going to use washers. And the center pin of the axle back here, I will make sure is the same distance to the center of the springs up front. That way it's in there straight and goes down the road straight. So I'm going to pause the camera and do some work. I got these shocks. I've had these shocks laying around forever. They're different, but they're in really good shape. They have plenty of compression. I've hauled them to swap meets and tried to sell them. I even tried to sell them for $5 a piece one time and couldn't sell them. So I'm going to put them on here. That's how it goes. Where's my wrench at? All right. She's going to move around and raise hell, but I'm going to put 5 spacers between them. Then I will replace. I mean, I really don't need to replace them. You're just going to bust my balls if I don't. So I'm saying I'm going to replace them. All right. Get in there. Now, why did it go that far and stop? Come on, rusty bolt. I need longer bolts. And I need them now. What am I going to do? I drilled it all the way through. So I guess if I can get it on there and get it to hold a little bit. I don't know where the nut went. Right there's the nut. See how many washes I can get on there. Hard to line up. All right. I really just need enough to get the nut started. I'm going to replace the bolts. At least this way I'll be able to measure what size I need. I'm going to leave it tight, and then I will build it. And then let me go over to the other side. I got 4 in there, so I don't have the right bolt. I got to find another bolt for the other side. That might take me a minute, but it's all laying here. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. But you can see, so now you can see I'll build a house on it, basically. You know, however I got to do it. Maybe like that, and then a 45. Maybe like that. I don't know, but we'll get it. You get the point. You see what I mean? So I'm going to jump to their side. I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll be right back. I got to find that bolt. All right, here we are. All right. All right, here I am. Now, I got them both mounted on each side. I got my equal amount of washers on each side. And what I'll do is I'll make my spacer a little bit less than that. That way it fits together, no problem. Right now, took a piece of metal like this, piece of flat stock. I cut it in half. I got a perfect piece for right here. That's what I'm going to put in right now. And then I got a piece for right there. So we box this in, and she ain't going anywhere. Lots of welding to do on this, so I'm trying to get as much welding as I can do done. And then I plan on taking it apart and re-welding everything, make sure I got everything welded, because there's a lot of stuff here. I don't want to miss nothing. And I build mine to take an abuse. You don't know what you're going to do with them, so you might as well build them right the first time. Every time you drop your grinder, you break a blade. Get back here. Luckily, that was a sanding disc, not a cutting wheel. You drop your grinder on a cutoff wheel, you might as well throw it away. Don't cut your face off. Need a longer lead. Need a better welder. There's a lot of stuff. That ain't gonna stop me. Now that is never going anywhere. Trust me. I mean, I made that out of flat stock. I made that. I mean, there's dollars right there. There's not even very much money. I didn't buy nothing. I reused the bolt even. And I made that shackle out of just steel I had laying around. You gotta be able to save money where you can, and you just can't afford to buy everything all the time perfectly. So you just use what you got, and you make it work, and then you become an innovator of things. And you're the originator, and you build it, and it's yours, and no one can ever take it away. They may say it's not right to their standards, but I don't build nothing to no one's standards but my own. So if there's a chance somebody someday wants to own something I built, then that's on them. But those welds ain't breaking. Nothing's coming loose. There's better welders than me. There's better fabricators than me, but I'm in the garage at 8 o'clock on a Sunday, and I'm trying to build what I love. And this is what I've got a big love for a banjo here. I'm kind of bouncing around, but you get the point. Double shear. So basically, that's the factory. In the factory, they dimple theirs out of strength. I don't have the ability to put dimples in there and make it stronger. I just plate it, box it. It could be lit. It could look better, but that'll last. Trust me. And it didn't cost me anything. I dug it out of my scrap bin. I still got to put 45s on the main hanger. So, and then a tie-in bar to keep it from swaying. So if you've seen something on here that didn't look like it was done, it's because it wasn't. I'm gonna cross all these T's and dot all these I's, and it'll be right when we're done. So keep watching. All right, Sunday night, we're gonna call it a night. 9 o'clock. Can't get it done if you don't work on it. Got some cross members welded in. Got some smaller ones moved. We got to modify those spring pockets a little bit to fit the axle better, and then get them in there. But it all works. So that's good. All right, more tomorrow. All right, everybody, we're back. It's Monday. I'm trying to finish up the back spring pockets, get them tacked in. I ran out of gas last night, but we're back in business. I got my degree wheel here. I'm going to show you the process I use to do the front ones, and I'm going to use the same process to do the back ones. So it should work right. So basically what I did on the front ones, tripod difficulties. Basically on the front ones, because I couldn't mimic the weight accurately, so I took my degree wheel here and I kicked the front ones. Basically the front spring pads, I have them kicked back like this. That way when there's weight on them, they'll come up to level is what we're trying to do. So I did 2 degrees on the back. Now I'm gonna do 2 degrees right here on the same spring, on the same technique, front and back. And we'll get them tacked, check everything, keep going. There's 200 pounds right there. Haha, more than that. All right, let me get my stuff laid out here. So on the front, all I did was set that right there, line that up. Got this one on backwards. Yep. So I may do bags back here, so I may need to kick these in more to clear the bags. I'm gonna move these in a little bit more. I had them like this. I'm gonna go like that, just to get, if I have a bag, to give my bag room to compress. I've kicked it back 2 degrees. It's sitting one way, so I'm gonna tack my low side, then I'm gonna pull it up and tack the other side. Give myself a nice gap to burn in. We're gonna need that ground hooked right to the axle instead of just the frame. Yep. Half bubble. That's how the front was. About 3 degrees. So we'll let that cool down. We'll move over here, match the other one. Then we'll get down in there and burn them in. Gotta clean that. Since I'm moving it over, I need to clean it better. Boom. Half bubble. Give me a half bubble. Perfect. All right. Think I got those where I want them. I'm going to go back and double check everything, then I'll burn them in. I'll be right back. All right, I went ahead and just did it because I showed it to you once before. So now, even though I said I'm bagging it, I went ahead and built it this way so I can put the bags back in place later. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the way we do it. So I left the gap here because I'm going to put a support there, a little bit of added strength. This kick down before I get square. It's all right. There's not a lot of weight on the back, at least not the most of the weight. So when I go down to my scrap yard, I'm always looking for metal, and I found these pieces of metal, and they were already cut on one side. And I thought, man, that saves me a cut right there, and I need that piece anyway. So I've made another mark on it. I'm gonna go in here. I got another one cut, another one marked, two cut. And what we're building here is, let me show you. So you see that front spring hanger right there. Basically, I'm just going to use this already here. I'm going to run me a 45 up. That's what this mark is. So I'm going to go cut them off, and then we will weld them in, and the front spring hangers will be done. Just marking stuff off the list one right after another. You never use 6-inch grinder, man. You need to get one. They're just so much handier than a 4-inch. Perfect. All right, let's go over here and put them in. All right, you can see here, we're getting the front hanger built. We got our 45 up in there, our staub, as Jennifer would like to call it. And then we got our hanger built from scratch. We probably got $1 in that. We got a front hanger we took off the Suburban frame. We got nothing in that. We got to put a few gussets on that. Just keep welding. We got the rear plates in, and then we'll do something here. I'll have something here to strengthen that up, and that's it. We're just gonna keep going, and just step by step until we got a functioning 4 suspension with track bar, panhard bar from side to side. And I got that laying there for free. I got some pieces laying there. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. So we'll get back to work. But yeah, we're moving right along. You can see it transforming in front of your eyes. We'll go over here and weld the back side of this hanger. This is actually the hanger support. Why so many rear ends? I don't know. This thing's hard to work on. All right, everybody. This is going to be the end of the rat rod video. I look like crap, but this is what happens when you lay on the ground and weld on your back. So we got both rear axles in, located, panhard bar brackets made. I got one bracket left to make, a few supports. Leaf springs are in, brackets are made, 45s are on. It works. So that's the main thing. I put the bar, since I couldn't simulate weight, I got tractor weights on the back, so I was trying to simulate, and I don't know how much it weighs. So I probably got 400 pounds on there. Some of those aren't hundreds. And I set my track bar, panhard bars at 2 degrees, both of them. That way it'd take like 3-inch drop, and it'd be 2 degrees the other way. And then it should cycle without kicking over. The more level it is, the better it'll work. That's the whole trick, without kicking you over. So that's done. I got a few cross members to make here. I got a lot of other stuff to do, but we are moving forward pretty good. And I was going to put a radiator back here, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that now. But I'll figure that out soon, I guess. Sooner than later, I hope. And that's it. We're just going to keep going. And thanks for watching this far. Like, subscribe, and share. We're going to give away a 12,000-pound Harbor Freight Badland winch. We're going to pick the winner October 31st. You don't have to buy anything. You just go on our page and subscribe. We're going to pick a random person from that list on October 31st, and then we'll get you what you want. So it's getting ready to rain. It is raining, so I'm going to cut this off, roll it in, and that's it, man. This is a big deal now. Now I can start finishing everything and working my way through it from front to back and just try to get it running. And I got to get a clutch and flywheel, start doing that kind of stuff. And once I get all that going and we get it fired up, we'll start plumbing it, wiring it, taillights, headlights. We'll make everything work. Here comes the rain, so I got to go. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching.